Now that our dispenser is installed, it's wired to the machine for power, it's wired to the machine for our signals, our remote control is in place, our chemical supply is in place, our discharge line from the flush manifold is in the supply box. We're ready to prime the pumps. So let's go ahead and do that together. First thing you need to do is to get access to the system. Choose the pump that you want, and when I press prime, the system will begin to run the time I've already stored for that pump, for that formula. You'll notice the chemicals being pulled up, and at that point I can hit reset, and that stops the priming action. I select my second pump. Again, I have to get access. Hit the prime button again, and you'll see that pump number 2 will prime. I can either let it count down to 0 or I can hit reset to stop it. Let's go ahead and stop it. And repeat that procedure for each of the pumps on your system, including flush. If you want to prime flush, simply get access again, select F for flush, hit prime. Now your water will begin to move on down to the washer and flush. It's at this point you should look to see what kind of water pressure you're producing and modify your pressure setting accordingly. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and run the pump for 30 seconds, and we're going to see how much liquid we draw off. And because we've decided to calibrate this way, we are accounting for lift from our suction point to our pump. We're accounting for the back pressure through the manifold, and we're accounting for the head pressure leading to the washer. The correct way to calibrate a pump, especially one that's plumbed with a flush manifold, is to calibrate from the supply side. Here we've taken a pickup tube and poured off some of our builder into a measuring cup. What I'm going to do first is get us to the first graduation point, which would be the 8-ounce mark here. That'll be our starting point. In order to get the most accurate calibration, I've also selected our flush pump output to run simultaneously as our peristaltic pump runs. This way we also account for the water pressure running through the manifold. Okay, our chemical pump has run for 30 seconds. Now let's check and see how much we drew off. Looks to me like we have drawn off 4 ounces in 30 seconds. I'll be darned, that's an 8-ounce a minute pump. Now we're ready. So that you can program in time increments, and we've done our calibration, we know at 8 ounces a minute that's 0.13 ounces per second. In order to achieve the delivery that we want in that particular formula, let's say Formula 1 for sheets, we're going to take 5 ounces and divide that by 0.13. And that will give us a 38.46 second run time for our pump. Now once you have established what your flow rate is for each pump, then the math is very simple and you can program your pump delivery times in the same manner. The other method that we use is the automatic calibration, and we'll show you that technique in review right now. Okay, the second method for calibration is automatic calibrate. Start by gaining access to the control. Select flush, because we're going to run the same process we ran a moment ago. We're going to draw from a supply source here. We're going to pump some measured amount. First, make sure you know what your level is. We're going to run flush, and we're going to run our pump number 2 at the same time, and in that way we account for water pressure variations, back pressure through the check valve, viscosity, and distance all at one time. So go ahead and start flush first. Select your flush pump, press prime. Now select the pump you want to calibrate, pump 2 in this case, and press the calibrate button provided the pump time LED is flashing. Now pump number 2 will begin to draw off of our supply. Now we're going to run that for at least 30 seconds. You can run it longer if you like, but we're going to draw off a little bit more material here than we did the last time. The longer you run the pump, the more accurate your calibration is going to be. We've stopped the pump. Now we're going to measure where we started, which was up here at 8 ounces. We drew off right about to the 2 ounce, or excuse me, right close to the 3 ounce mark. So we're going to call that 5 ounces. But that time's already recorded by the pump. And so for formula number 1, when pump 2 is triggered, that's the time that it's going to run, 34 seconds. And to press enter to accept that calibration timing. That's how you use the other mode of calibrating.